What if I told you that the way you see the entire world, I'm talking space, time, everything, could be explained by something as simple as this? Today, we're diving into a really mind-bending theory about the nature of reality itself, and it all kicks off with a summer treat. Yeah, okay, at first glance, it's just an ice cream cone. Nothing special. But what if this simple object actually holds the key to challenging our most basic assumptions about how we perceive space and time? That's the fascinating idea we're going to unpack today. That really is the big question, isn't it? And the answer takes us on a pretty wild journey, not into outer space, but into the geometry of our own perception. It's a trip that's going to force us to totally rethink the simple act of seeing. So, how are we going to get there? Well, first, we're going to uncover the paradox that's hiding inside this sweet treat. Then, we'll see how your eye can be modeled as a cone, which reveals a fundamental time lag in our reality. And finally, we'll remap space-time from the only perspective that really matters, yours. Okay, first things first, we have to stop thinking about this as a snack. Seriously, we need to start seeing it as a geometric concept. The author asks us to do a pretty simple little mental trick. So here's the trick. When you project that three-dimensional cone onto a flat two-dimensional surface, what do you get? A simple inverted triangle inside of a circle. It's basically a shadow, a flat representation of the real thing. And according to this theory, that 2D representation, that simple triangle, it isn't just a shadow, it's the fundamental shape of our own perception. But how does that even work? Let's try and build this out into a full model of vision. So how on earth does an ice cream cone relate to your eye? Well, the idea is that it's a direct analogy. This cone shape is actually a perfect simplified model for how you see the world. In this model, I want you to imagine that the sharp point of the cone, its vertex, is you. Or, to be more specific, it's your eye. It's that single stationary point, what the author calls a camera eye, that's gathering all the visual information from the world around you. You know, this is a really powerful way to think about it. Your entire visual universe literally radiates outward from this one single point. Everything you see, all of space, is structured in relation to exactly where your eye is. Okay, so if the pointy tip of the cone is your eye, then the flat circular base on the other end is your field of vision. Think of it like a screen where the world is projected. All the light from that distant circle travels down the sides of the cone and converges right at that tip, right at your eye. All right, now that we have this cone model of vision set up, we can finally get to the core of the idea. We're going to tackle the inescapable delay, the time lag that is built into every single thing we see. So here's the crucial point, and it's a big one. Light isn't instant. It actually takes time to travel from an object to your eye. And what this means is that you are never seeing the present moment. The light that hits your retina right now, let's call it time zero, that light actually left its source sometime in the past. The author uses a tennis match to make this crystal clear. Okay, so at time zero, the image of the ball crossing the net finally reaches your eye. But, and here's the crazy part, in that exact same instant, the actual ball is already much, much closer to you. You are literally reacting to an image from the past. So if what we see is always just an echo from the past, then how should we even be mapping reality? The author proposes a pretty radical idea. We should stop using a neutral objective grid and start mapping spacetime from our own subjective camera eye perspective. And this really gets to the core of the whole argument. It's this conflict between the abstract map of physics, a clean grid where everything is simultaneous, and the territory of our actual perception, where information is always delayed and converges on one single point, us. So instead of a flat grid, this theory asks us to imagine space as a series of nested concentric spheres, and they're all centered on you. Each sphere represents a different moment in the past. Think of it this way. All the light that's reaching your eye right now at time zero, it didn't all leave its source at the same time. Light from closer objects left at, say, t=-1. But light from much farther objects had to leave even earlier, maybe at t=-2, just to arrive at the exact same instant. So where does this journey through cones and spheres actually lead us? Well, it leads to a fundamental challenge against something we all just take for granted, that simple graph paper grid we all learned about in math class. And this is the final punch. The author argues that we've completely mistaken our convenient mathematical tool, that simple XY grid, for the way reality is actually structured and perceived. To the author, this grid is just the map, and it is definitely not the territory our senses are actually navigating. Ultimately, this whole journey, which started with a simple ice cream cone, leaves us with a really provocative question about the nature of our own personal reality. It suggests that the world isn't some pre-drawn stage we just move through, but that it's a constant stream of past information that our mind assembles into the present, and it's all centered on one single point: you.